Hello guys, welcome back to another build video guide. I hope you liked my video yesterday of the spear, and as promised yesterday I wanted to drop a guide on the Dualwield build that I have for New Game Plus Plus for max level. This time around I will start by showcasing the build first against the training dummy and then against Ozma, and then I will go into what build to choose and what attributes to look for, what stats to look for, what phantom, etc. But I just wanted to make things a little bit fresh and show you the build first, so that you first see its power, and then if you are still interested in seeing how I set this whole build up, you can watch the whole video and get the most value out of it. So let's start up by showcasing it on the dummy. So we will pop this skill, then we will pop this skill, and then as you can see, the damage is pretty nutty. So let's go to Ozma and show the build on Ozma.
Khazan, なぜ私と戦おうとするの？真の敵は人間どもだというのに。オズマ、自分の姿を見てみろ。なぜそんなことになってしまったんだ。カザン、所詮は私たちが救った世界なの。それを破壊する権利もまた私たちにあるのではないか。
So, as you saw, this build is very strong as well. It's, in my opinion, the second strongest build in the game, next to the spear build that I posted yesterday. The reason why I think that the spear build is still stronger than this one is that this build is not as versatile as a spear and more difficult to use because you have to take care of your resources because it drains a lot of resources and it's a very stamina hungry build that truly comes online only in New Game Plus Plus. And the reasons for it is that it's, like I said, very stamina hungry. This set that I'm using is the Bloodthirsty's Fiend set, and as you can see on the fixed attributes, you learn a new skill called Phantom Bloody Sword Dance, which you only get in New Game Plus anyway. The armor is a pretty heavy armor that requires a lot of investment in strength. So therefore, you need to have a very high level to be able to get an A rating as well as have a lot of endurance. So on the right, you can see how I distributed the points. The reason why I put it this way is because the weapon scales mainly from willpower and then from strength. So ideally you want to max out these two and endurance as well because it just drains a whole lot of stamina. It's I think even the most stamina hungry build there is. Also, vitality, I mean, you could technically, if you want to, you could have a little bit less vitality and also go into proficiency because that will give you an increase in stamina damage. But I don't think it's really that worth it because we already deal a lot of stamina damage, and I think the survivability from 92 vitality brings more value, or at least that's my opinion. So let's take a look deep at the set. As we can see, the Bloodthirsty Fiend set is a 6-piece set. So you want to have 5 pieces of the set and a jar. Why that is, I will go into it later a bit also. For the set attributes, you can see we get 10% swift attack damage increase. Then we get Fury accumulation when swift attacking. Then we gain health recovery. So even every time an enemy is exhausted, and also every time we attack, we recover health. So this is a unique feature that this set provides, so that it really benefits from very aggressive playstyle and from swift attacking all the time. Because as you can see on the 5th bonus, we have swift attack stamina damage increased by 20%. And lastly, we learn the skill Gale Doom. I will explain the skills later, what exactly they do, as well as this Phantom Bloody Sword Dance. Why I think this is a build that really is more a New Game Plus Plus build. So let's go over the other fixed attributes that we have. We have here swift attack stamina damage increase 15%. On the jar we have extra willpower 10, so that's our main damage stat, so that's why this jar is the best jar for this build. Then we have set item requirement decrease, which makes it so that we can rock this 2 accessories and get the 3-piece bonus instead of only the 2-piece bonus. And then for this reason we get then more stamina damage when brink dodging for 10 seconds, and we get more damage when below 50% stamina for 15 seconds. So that's also a good damage buff to have. So for the Bloodthirsty Fiend's chests, We get swift attack damage increase 5%, fury accumulation increase 5%. Here we get fury accumulation increase 5%, unscathed damage increase 7%. Unscathed means when you are at full health. Then we get here swift attack damage increase 5% again, and fury accumulation increase 5% again. And here we get fury accumulation increase 5% and unscathed damage increase 7%. So also a reason why this is very good, why this build is only really viable in my opinion in New Game Plus or New Game Plus Plus is for the fury accumulation that we get, and of course for the skill Phantom Bloody Sword Dance, but also for fury accumulation, because this build consumes a lot of fury, and it consumes a lot of stamina, as I said earlier. And ideally, your stats need to be very high, and you need to have in the skill tree the resource in the commentary. You will have to need the resource tree maxed out, because it costs so much fury that it's very hard to maintain the fury management in the first new game cycle. I'm speaking from experience. I started a whole run to get the standing alone trophy, so that I get the game platinum, because the trophy was bugged. And I played with Dualwield for an entire run and got to build this set in the first new game cycle, and it just wasn't working so well. So the issue that I ran into was fury, stamina management. The damage was not really worth the resource management that you need to have, because you ran out of stamina very quick. You will not have enough fury, then you don't get this buff, learn Phantom Bloody Sword Dance, and it just was not so potent as it is right now. But this whole dynamic changed in New Game Plus Plus, and it became, in my opinion, the second strongest set in the game. I can't speak for Greatsword because I don't have a lot of experience with the Greatsword, but at least if for the Dualwield, it's in my opinion the strongest. There's another one that I can make a build guide also, that is the Ozma set, but I think this set outshines Ozma's set. And yeah, so let's go over the fixed attributes for the accessories. Here we can see we have more max stamina, which is great because it's very stamina hungry. More composed damage, so when above 50% stamina, which is also good. And here again. So for the random attributes, what you want to look for, or what I looked for, is for attack damage increase, brutal attack damage increase, stamina damage increase. You can also go for damage multipliers, unscathed multipliers, for example. You can go for composed damage multipliers, for enraged damage multipliers. So these are all also really good random attributes that I can recommend. As you can see, I'm max level, so the gear scales with the level. So the higher your level is, the more damage you will deal, and also the better the attributes that you will get randomly. And I have everything on 349 because that's the max. You can't go to 350 somehow. I don't know why that is, but yeah. So for the other random attributes I have here, defense 814, stamina damage increase 10.7%, brutal attack damage increase 18.4%. We have here max stamina 272, received damage decrease 11%, defense 887. As explained earlier in my other build guide, you can only reroll defensive attributes on chest and pants, and I found this to be the best defensive attributes that you can have, in my opinion, because you will need a lot of stamina. Having defense is also good, and to have a damage reduction of 11% is also very valuable. Then for the gauntlets, we have here damage multiplier increase 10.1%, damage increase 9.8%, enraged, so when below 50% stamina. we gain 13.9 more stamina damage. Here, for the leggings, I went for max health again, for defense again, and for max stamina. And for the Bloodthirsty Fiend shoes, we get stamina damage increase, max stamina, and composed damage multiplier, so when above 50% stamina. Here we have max stamina again, more attack damage, and a damage multiplier increase by 8.2%. Here we have more attack damage, again damage increased by 10.2% and 916 defense. So that puts us at, we can see on the right side, we have 32% damage increase. We have 27.3% damage multiplier increase, 11% reduced damage. We have 20% more fury accumulation, which is very important. I will go into the skill tree next, and you will see why. Then we have swift attack stamina damage increase 35%, swift attack damage increase 20%, and brutal attack damage increase 39.6%. So what you could also do is, if you don't feel like having brutal attack that high, would be understandable, you could also aim for the random attributes that I chose. Instead of brutal attack damage increase, you could also roll for some kind of swift attack damage increase, or stamina damage increase, or some kind of damage multiplier. That's really up to you. And this is not mandatory to have a brutal attack damage increase that high. I think would be even better if you would have a different attribute on it, but still it's not bad to have, because we break the stance from the enemy pretty quickly, and can then deal a huge amount of damage when brutal attacking, which I also like. So for the stamina status, we have enraged stamina damage increase 13.9%, composed damage multiplier 10.6, composed damage increase 10%, and then we have unscathed damage increase 14%. So the stats I already explained earlier. So we can now go on which phantom to choose. I went for the Phantom Conrad to gain even more damage when brink dodging, and to increase the damage when perform up to 5% to up to maximum of 5 stacks, so 25%, when performing consecutive brink dodgings without taking damage. And we have also dodge stamina cost decreased by 20%, which is also, it synergizes also very well with Dualwield. And the reason for that is, as I can go into the skill tree now, is that you have a lot of things that boost your stamina cost of dodging, for example, here. We also have here that we recover stamina when performing a brink dodge. So, as I said, this build is very stamina hungry, and as you also could see, even with 99 stamina and a lot of stamina on attributes, it's still very stamina hungry. So this is really great to have, and to recover stamina when brink dodging. Here we gain fury upon brink dodging, which is also great. For example, here you gain more iframes, so the invincibility duration of dodges increases in proportion to your agility. We have agility at an A rating, so that's perfect. So it's easier to dodge attacks this way, and this here increases it even more. So that's why I prefer dodging over brink guarding, even though you could also go for brink guarding, but I prefer it this way. It's just, for me, more consistent, and you can also reposition yourself easier when fighting an enemy, and the iframes that you get from dodging, and then the damage buff that you get from dodging because of the phantom. It's just all in all a great synergy. Let's go over the most important parts here. This one is very good. So when you take damage, you can just press square on the PlayStation, so the swift attack button, and then you will immediately stand up and attack the enemy again. And since this build gives you lifesteal, when you get hit, you just press square and you're right in the face of the enemy again, and you can perform hits and heal yourself back up. So this skill is mandatory for this build, in my opinion, one of the most important skills to have. Then you want to have the swift attack tree on Whirlwind. Whirlwind is, in my opinion, the best swift attack move, better than Howling Blade, because it just, you get more fury out of it. Often you dodge attacks by jumping up in the air, and the damage of this is just insane. And what happens with Whirlwind is, if you have Phantom Sword Dance, you summon a Phantom that copies your attack, and this Phantom also copies Whirlwind. So every swift attack you do and the Whirlwind you do will be copied by this Phantom Sword Dance. And now, as I explained earlier, why this build will be so strong in New Game Plus, or gets online in New Game Plus, is Phantom Bloody Sword Dance. So Phantom Bloody Sword Dance even enhances it even further. So it will appear more often, and it's just basically an even more damage increase, and it's an upgraded version of this one, you could say. As you can see, it's this buff. To activate this buff, it costs 2 Fury, which is okay. It's not so much, but now we get to the reason why Fury is such an important key part of this build, and that's the reason for it is Gale Doom. Gale Doom costs 4 Fury, and when activating Gale Doom, you gain a damage buff and you enhance swift attacks. So that's the reason why this set is also great, is because you gain the skill on the 6-piece bonus, and the whole set provides you bonus to swift attack. So that's ideally how you want to play it. You don't want to spam your heavy attack button, you want to spam your swift attack button, and Whirlwind also counts as a swift attack. Then, as you can see, you will recover health when you are with this buff activated. So you will just gain lifesteal. And yeah, as you can see, this costs 4 Fury and this costs 2 Fury. So that's 6 Fury in total for buffs. Just so that you know, the Phantom Bloody Sword Dance has a longer skill duration than the Gale Doom effect. So ideally you want to cast Phantom Bloody Sword Dance, Phantom Sword Dance first, and after that you cast Gale Doom. And that will immediately take 6 Fury away. So it's a lot of Fury, as you can imagine, and if you, especially in early game, or in early New Game Plus cycles where you don't have as much Fury resources, if you cast both skills and then you get hit, for example, or get interrupted, the enemy flies away, stuff like that, then you just have spent 6 Fury for nothing and will be standing there with no Fury almost, and it will be hard to get the buff again and you just die. So that's the reason why this build is a New Game Plus build, and I recommend this build if you really are in endgame to try it out, because the damage is honestly insane when in New Game Plus. Alright, what other skills to look for? Ruthless is pretty good, or it's I think one of the best active skills. It costs 1 Fury and you just get into in the state where you attack at the enemy instantly, and what's also important, if you finish the attack until the end and then perform the slash, you gain stamina back for this blow. And if you upgrade it to max, you gain poise so that you can tank a few attacks, and since this build gives you lifesteal, this is great because you then can just tank enemy hits when you have your buffs activated. You can just take these hits and heal up again. So, and then you will get stamina back and you can remain in the cycle. So this is also 1 Fury, so as you can see, it consumes a lot of Fury, this build. I recommend having this one also because it just you can I mean you can follow up sprint attacks and stuff like that. It's good to have this in your combo chain. This one I don't really use that much. It is a good gap closer, to be honest. So if the enemy is a bit far away, you could cast this to gap close to the enemy and be right up in its face again. But I don't really use it that much, to be honest. What's more important to talk about? Ah, this one, Flash Cutter, is a good defensive skill in my opinion, because if you cast it, you will nullify the incoming damage. So it's like a counter, it's like a parry also, and um, you can charge it also up. And if you strike an exhausted enemy, it makes like this. It looks really cool, to be honest. It's one of the most coolest looking skills. It's like in an anime. Okay, so this is also a good skill to have. But yeah, the most important part is definitely this and this. Um, Now, what you can also go for in the potent blow tree is Gale, because what Gale does is if you hold triangle, you gain an inflict, you gain the endure status on enemies, and they take increased damage up to a maximum of 10 stacks. I don't use it that often, to be honest, again, but it would make sense to cast your both buffs and then to inflict the Gale Scar on them so that they take more damage with your strikes. So it would make sense, even though I don't use it that much, but I should, honestly. Okay, let's go over the commentary. Here it's very important to have your resources maxed out because as you saw in the demonstration and as I explained, it is a very stamina hungry build. Next, I recommend maxing out counterattack just so that you can counter the heavy burst attacks from enemies, like these red ones. You then can counter it more easily because you increase the timing window, and you also gain fury from successfully counterattack, and you also gain stamina. So this makes a lot of sense to max it out as soon as possible, just like the resource tree. The rest, I mean, reflection depends on how good you're at reflecting. I'm not the greatest at reflecting. I like to not wait for the enemy attack as much, and I rather be in its face and then just dodge and be in its face. That's how I play it. But if you're good at reflecting, this also makes sense. For brutal attack, I mean, also makes sense to have this maxed out more or less because you will recover health when brutal attacking from head on. Then I mean this one is more for clearing monsters in the world. Um, this is for gaining more fury, and when you brutal attack enemies from behind, you gain more fury. Here is you gain more phantom form gauge, so that you can have phantom form up more consistently. And this just upgrades the brutal attack, normal brutal attack to a phantom brutal attack. In the phantom form, we don't really use it. The most important one, or the one that I would recommend, is this one because it's just a safety net for you. Whenever you take lethal damage, you get into the phantom form, and you can even tank one or two hits, get out to safety, then press triangle and square again, and canceling your phantom form. And what this skill, for example, does is that it does not deplete the phantom form gauge, which is good. And then you can heal up and start fighting again. So this is like a safety measure that you can have. But other than that, it's not like I pop phantom form to deal damage. Our main damage source lies in going for phantom bloody sword dance or for phantom sword dance and for Gale Doom, and then attacking the enemy. So let me see if I forgot anything. I don't think so. I also recommend going for lightning enhancer because you you deal more stamina damage to enemies that have the lightning debuff on them. And other than that, I think that sums the video up. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I would love it if you could drop an like and comment my video and subscribe to my channel, because channel is still growing. I plan on making more Khazan guides. I don't think I'm dropping a greatsword video because I haven't played greatsword that much, and I think I would not do the greatsword any justice. I I mainly played the spear. With the spear, I know a lot of about the spear and about sets and stuff like that. With dual wields, I played also a fair amount, like 30 to 40 hours, and crafted all kinds of sets. Let me know if you would like to see the variation of the Ozma set, because this is the second best dual wield set. And if you want to see it, let me know in the comments. Also, if you would like to have a farming guide on how to reach level 350 as quick as possible and gain a lot of lacrima and money to max out your gear, to max out your character and stuff like that, and how to quickly level your jar and stuff like that. If you want to have a video on that, I could make one. And also, I was thinking of maybe live streaming and showcasing the builds on all major bosses of the game. So also let me know if you're interested in that. And if you have any questions or have anything to say or to comment or any suggestions, I'm also open to it, and I read every comment. And thank you for watching, guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.